Previously on Whispers of the Old World, a message from a dead man led the last survivors of the Crimson Gryphon Company into the heart of a nightmare. Lured to the mythical Sunken City of Eridor, they found their comrade Valerius dying, slain by a mysterious obsidian spear. With his final breath, he revealed the location of a secret vault, but warned them it was too late. From the murky depths, silent assassins in black armor rose to surround them, and it is here our story continues. Trapped, the five heroes stand back to back in the shallow, black water of the ruined plaza, a tiny island of defiance in a sea of silent death. There are dozens of them, these black-armored assassins, forming a perfect, impenetrable circle. They do not move, they do not breathe. Their featureless masks reflect the sickly green light of the city, giving them the appearance of phantom insects. Their obsidian spears are held at a low, ready position, their points gleaming with a dark energy that seems to drink the very light from the air. There is no sound but the gentle lapping of water against stone and the frantic beating of 5 hearts. The training from a lifetime of war takes over. Kalen stands at the forefront, his greatsword held in a two-handed grip, its familiar weight the only comfort in this impossible situation. Back to back with him, Brother Theron plants his feet, his warhammer held tight, his sturdy form a bastion for the others. Lyra, her bardic charms useless here, draws a long, thin dagger, her knuckles white, and on the edge of the small circle, Finn seems to melt into the shadow of a broken pillar. His own blades ready for a fight he knows they cannot win. But the focus of the tension, the eye of this deadly storm, is Ilara. The air around her grows cold, crackling with raw power. The corrupt magic she felt from the insignia now presses in on her from all sides, emanating from the assassins and their weapons. It is the same chaotic energy she fears within herself, and her control is slipping. Frost begins to creep across the surface of the water at her feet. She is a magical bomb about to detonate, and the assassins watch her, waiting. Minutes stretch into an eternity. Why do they not attack? Kalen scans the circle of enemies, searching for a leader, a weak point, anything. He finds it. One of the figures, standing directly opposite the great vault door, is imperceptibly taller than the others. It raises its obsidian spear. Kalen braces for the signal to attack, the signal for their final, hopeless last stand, but the spear does not point at him. It swings in a slow, deliberate arc and points directly at the massive, rune-sealed vault Valerius had revealed. The gesture is deliberate, unmistakable, a cold, terrifying realization dawning on the heroes. This isn't an ambush. It's not an execution. It's a prison. They are not being held here to be killed. They are being held here for a purpose. And that purpose, it seems, lies on the other side of that ancient, unbreachable door. The assassins are not the executioners. They are the wardens. And the heroes of the Crimson Gryphon have just become their newest prisoners. The leader's gesture hangs in the air, an undeniable command. The immediate terror of a final battle subsides, replaced by a colder, deeper dread. This is a cage, and they are the rats. But the Crimson Gryphons are not rats. They are soldiers. And in the face of the unknown, they fall back on what they know best: discipline, observation, and the unique skills that allowed them to survive the horrors of the past. The circle of assassins remains unnervingly still, a living wall of black iron and obsidian. The heroes, in turn, begin to methodically dissect their prison. Finn is the first to test the bars. He gives Kalen a subtle nod, and with a speed that defies the eye, he detaches from the group. He doesn't run. He flows. Using the deep shadows cast by a half-submerged obelisk, he attempts to circle around the plaza's edge, searching for a gap, an escape route, any path that does not lead through the silent phalanx. The assassins react with an unnatural, synchronized grace. As Finn moves left, the figures on that side of the circle shift, their movements economical and perfectly timed, sealing the path before he can even approach it. He feints right, and the wall of bodies mirrors his intention instantly. There is no verbal communication between them, no shouted orders, just a hive-mind intelligence that predicts his every move. Finn halts, pressing himself into the shadow of a crumbling archway. He looks at their flawless coordination and understands there is no escape by stealth. Meanwhile, Lyra's sharp eyes are engaged in a different kind of reconnaissance. She studies the assassins themselves, her mind, a repository of lore, history, and heraldry, desperately searching for a clue. Their armor is seamless, masterfully crafted from an unknown black metal that seems to absorb the faint green light of the city. There are no maker's marks, no regimental insignia, no sigils of any known kingdom, order, or noble house. They are a blank slate, a faction without a name, without a history. Her gaze then shifts to the colossal vault door, her eyes tracing the intricate runes carved around its circumference. They are not dwarven, nor are they the high script of the elves, nor any of the common arcane languages she has studied. They are older, more primal, symbols of power from a civilization lost to all memory. She has nothing. The bard, whose knowledge of the past is her greatest weapon, is confronted with a mystery that has no history. It is Ilara who peels back the first true layer of this impossible mystery, while the others probe the physical world. She extends her senses into the arcane. She sends out a delicate tendril of magical energy, a whisper of a spell designed to taste the nature of the ambient magic. The backlash is immediate and nauseating. The air shimmers. She feels the same corrupt, chaotic energy that she felt at the Whispering Gulch, but here it is 1,000 times more potent, more ancient. It is the very foundation of this place. She focuses on the assassins, and what she perceives makes her gasp. They are not alive. Not in any biological sense. Within each suit of armor, there is no heat, no life force, only a cold, dark core of this profane magic, binding the obsidian of their spears to the black metal of their armor. They are constructs, puppets, animated by an ancient, terrible will. She then turns her arcane senses to the vault. The power radiating from it is immense, a dense wall of protective wards. But it is the nature of the warding that chills her to the bone. It is not designed to keep people out. The magical currents, the flow of its defensive matrix, are all directed inwards. It is a prison, designed with unimaginable power to keep something locked inside, with escape impossible, and the nature of their captors a terrifying enigma. The group's entire focus coalesces on the one thing the assassins seem to want them to notice: the vault door itself. Kalen and Theron wade into the chest-deep, icy water. They run their hands over the cold, seamless stone. It is a single, perfect piece, without hinges, cracks, or any visible mechanism. It feels less like a door and more like a mountain, given shape. As they examine its surface, their hands find it. In the very center of the door is a smooth, circular indentation, and surrounding it, like satellites around a sun, are 5 smaller, uniquely shaped depressions carved into the stone. There is no keyhole, no handle, no lever. Only these 6 enigmatic hollows. The 5 of them gather before the door, the silent assassins watching from the plaza's edge. They share what they have learned: Finn's failed escape, Lyra's historical dead-end, Ilara's terrifying magical discoveries. They know they are prisoners, guarded by inhuman constructs, and the only point of focus is this door, this ancient puzzle. Kalen, his mind racing, paces in the shallow water. He absent-mindedly takes out the one thing that started this all, the tarnished silver griffin insignia from Valeris. He clenches it in his fist, the edges pressing into his palm, and that is, when Lyra sees it, her eyes, so used to finding patterns in songs and stories, now find one here, in this desperate moment. She looks from the insignia in Kellen's hand to the indentations on the door. Her breath catches. She points a trembling finger. The central indentation on the vault door is a perfect match for the Crimson Gryphon insignia. A stunned silence falls over the group as the implication washes over them. One by one, they understand. They look at each other, a dawning horror and wonder in their eyes. Ilara slowly unclasps the crystalline arcane focus from her belt, a unique gem given to her for her service. Finn reaches into his pouch and pulls out a heavy, strangely shaped coin, the sigil of the Thieves' Guild that first sponsored his entry into the army. Theron, with a look of disbelief, touches the Stonemender amulet at his neck, a sacred symbol of his order forged in the shape of a hammer and anvil. Even Lyra realizes, her hand going to the neck of her lute, where a silver inlay, a gift from the Legion's patron, is shaped like a perfect lyre. 5 survivors, 5 personal tokens, 5 indentations on an ancient, impossible door. This vault was not made for just anyone. It was not made for an army or a king. It was keyed, through some impossible foresight or terrifying destiny, specifically to them. Valerius did not just lead them here to a mystery. He led them here because he knew they, and they alone, were the key. The horrifying question is no longer how do we escape? It is now, why us? Why were 5 broken soldiers, the forgotten survivors of a political massacre, chosen as the key to unlock a secret that has been sleeping at the bottom of the world for millennia? The door is no longer a puzzle. It is a proclamation of a destiny they never asked for, and one that they are now prisoners to. To open it is to accept that their lives, and the tragedy that defined them, were never random. They were a prelude to whatever horror or truth lies waiting on the other side. A silent understanding passes between the 5 survivors. There is no debate, no discussion. The path behind them is gone, and the path forward leads only through this door. The fear is still there, a cold not in the stomach, but it is now overshadowed by a grim, unified resolve. They were brought here for a reason. They will see it through to the end. With a heavy heart, Kalen steps forward, wading through the chest-deep water until he stands before the immense stone door. He takes the tarnished Crimson Gryphon insignia from his pouch, the metal cold against his skin, and presses it firmly into the central indentation. It clicks into place, with a sound of finality that echoes across the waterlogged plaza. One by one, the others follow his lead in a solemn ritual. Brother Theron places his stone mender amulet into its slot. Finn, his cynicism for once giving way to a grudging curiosity, fits his guild sigil into its keyhole. Lyra, with a musician's delicate touch, places the silver inlay from her lute. And finally Elara, her hand trembling but her will firm, pushes her arcane-focused crystal into the last remaining space. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, a low hum begins to vibrate through the water, and the ancient runes carved around the door flare to life, bathing the entire plaza in a brilliant, blinding white light that banishes the sickly green glow. The sound is deafening, a deep, grinding groan of stone scraping against stone for the first time in millennia. The massive vault door, 1,000 tons of rock and magic, does not swing open. It sinks. It retracts down into the deep, dark water with impossible speed, revealing a yawning, perfectly square passageway leading into absolute blackness. As the door vanishes completely, the circle of black-armored assassins extinguish like candles in the wind. Their purpose fulfilled, they simply cease to be, their armor clattering into the water and sinking into the depths, leaving the heroes utterly alone. Hesitantly, the 5 companions enter the vault. The air inside is not stale or musty, but cool, clean, and strangely timeless. The passageway opens into a vast, circular chamber, its walls made of the same seamless, black stone. And in the very center of the room, they see it, the source of a soft, warm, golden light. It is not a treasure, nor a monster, nor a magical artifact. It is a person. A man, clad in ancient, royal armor, is held in perfect suspended animation inside a shimmering column of golden light. Kellen's breath catches in his throat. His blood runs cold. He recognizes the face, not from his life, but from the hallowed portraits in the royal palace, from the illustrations in the great books of history. It is the face of King Thoranius I, the founding father of their realm, the great hero who was said to have ascended to the heavens 1,000 years ago, but he did not ascend. He was imprisoned here. As the 5 heroes stare in utter disbelief, the column of golden light flickers and dies. The ancient king's eyes snap open. They stare not at a relic of the past, but at a living man, his gaze sharp and impossibly old. They had opened a prison to escape a prison, but what, or who, had they just set free? And what could the first king of their realm possibly have to do with the betrayal and murder of a small company of soldiers 1,000 years later? The mystery of the Crimson Gryphons is only just beginning. What is the connection between the first king and their betrayal? To be there when the story continues. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to Whispers of the Old World. You won't want to miss what happens next.